Before the paper, I knew they would say, and I knew by the looks on their faces. Niggas mad cause I did what they wouldn't do, said what I couldn't do. Look, bitch, I made it, I made it. Came a long way from the basement. Body on me, I ain't playing, y'all. These niggas ain't playing fair. If I would've known better, I'd do better. Took some mess and I learned from a new level. Bought some new shovels and some new stressors, and I'm ready for war like whoever. They counted me out, I can't count it all. Cause little nigga, I ball. I put them points on the board every time that I shoot, I'ma score, and you know I'm a dog. I'm really appalled, don't need no applause. I know I'm a legend, my name on the wall. First record with platinum, my second with gold. Did it independent, no deal at all. And they said it's impossible. Got them high cause I did them without them though. I'm the same nigga, slept on the carpet floor. Even back then I knew that I be poppin', so I really ain't trippin'. I swear I ain't trippin'. I got in my feelings and got me a million. Couple people I thought would be with me, but they not, so it's fuck all them niggas. And then you next.
Yo, what's good? What's good with everybody, man? For sure. We in here today, man. What's good? G5 Gay, what's up with you, man? Say what's poppin', bro? And the chat, man, ain't nothing much, man. Ain't nothing much, man. Boxing finally getting back busy, I see. So I had to come get some of this. I had to come get some of that work, man. I see boxing getting back busy, so I had to come get some of that work. Flawless Mentality. Dr. Mark, Elevation, hosted by Dr. Mark. What's good with you, man? Say blessings to the God, Tay Jones, my brother of Elevation fam, and the God's beautiful goddess of the Always Solid Boxing family, man. You already know, man. What's good with you, brother? How you doing? How you doing? Definitely had a great fight week, man. If you haven't seen the video, I definitely dropped the stock report. I actually got that concept from my guy Gritty, man. My guy Gritty. He's on Twitter. If you guys haven't followed him, you guys, if you do have a Twitter, you could definitely follow him at Gritty Woods here on Twitter. He does the stock report. I actually think it's very interesting, man. And once me and him spoke about it, he actually had different people hitting him up like, hey, man, you should do the stock report. You know what I mean? Give your thoughts. And I actually think that, I can listen to a guy like Gritty because he's got a very good dialect and, tone of voice when it comes to boxing. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He definitely knows what he's talking about. And I like what I get from Gritty, man. I definitely do. We definitely got some good fights coming up. That's for sure. We definitely got some good fights coming up. The biggest fight probably is going to be this weekend. Of course, everybody knows what fight that is, right? Everybody should know what fight that is. And I actually think that David Morrell fight and the David Morrell fight, and of course, the David Benavidez fight, I think that's going to be one hell of a fight for as long as it go. How long it's going to go, I can't tell you how long it's going to go, but I think that fight right there is going to be one for the one. I think that's going to be a gusto fight. That's what I like to call it, gusto. Got to welcome everybody in. What's good with y'all, man? What's going on? Trying to get situated over here, man. I'm trying to get my computer charged. I think I put the wrong charger on it. So I'm over here moving around trying to get situated real quick so I can get my time with you guys for a little bit, see what's going on, get popping. What y'all think about the fight coming up? What you think about the fight coming up? I know everybody got different, something different on the fight or what they think could happen or the outcome or whatever. I know I got my own speculation, right? It may sit well with some people, it may not, and that's okay. One thing about boxing is we all got our own brain, how we think, and if we all thought the same, it'd be boring, and everybody know that. But I actually think that it's a very, very interesting fight for sure. It's going to tell a lot about David Morrell. It's definitely going to tell a lot about David Morrell, that's for sure. I honestly think that, how can I say this without sounding so, because y'all know I'm cutthroat. I say what I feel and I mean what I say. I feel as if this fight is happening a little too fast for David Morrell. I actually got a chance to meet David Morrell. I'm actually trying to load the video, for you guys. But if you go back through my files of the videos of Bud Crawford and Spence fight week, I actually got a chance to interview David Morrell. He was with his girl and things of that nature. So, I didn't really want to put the camera on him, but I did get a glimpse of some things that we talked about in the interview. And that's when I found out that David Morrell definitely speaks, he definitely speaks some English. He definitely speaks some English. You heard him at the press conference use a little bit of it. And he spoke it quite fluently as well. And it was just a normal conversation. And I was actually thoroughly surprised that he had that type of dialect when it comes to the American English and literature. But David Morrell, man, like I said, I really do like David Morrell. I just think that the fight is too early for him. And one of the reasons why I say that, if you look at David Morrell past fights, and I'm specifically talking about the fights that he struggled in, well, people will say, well, what you mean he struggled in, right? People may say, well, what you mean by he struggled? Well, what I mean by that is, first couple fights we've seen David Morrell in, he was knocking people out, right? He was knocking people out. I know he's a strong southpaw kid, and I'll take nothing away from David Morrell. I take nothing from him at all. Nothing from him at all. I think he's a superb athlete. I actually think that, I know about his past, and I know they had to get him away. They moved him to Minnesota where he was training. Of course, a lot of his fights was at the Armory in Minnesota. But now, he's become more mainstream. He's one of those fighters who definitely has putting on. The last time I saw David Morrell fight in person, I think it was the Ryan Garcia and Tank undercard. Yeah, it was the Ryan Garcia Tank undercard. So it's been almost 2 years. Well, it has been 2. Well, yeah, it's been 2 years for sure. David Morrell, and I'm gonna just break it down. David Morrell, to me, the fight too early. The reason why I said that, because the fights that he didn't get the guys out early is where he struggled. And people say, well, what you mean by that? I always said that this is going to be the fight that, people try to force too early on him. Although he's a gladiator. I take nothing from him. Like I said before, he's a gladiator. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to prove yourself. But I felt like fans, they want to see they want to see fights so quick instead of letting the fight build. Now, I'm not saying letting the fight build like a Pacquiao Mayweather. I'm not saying that, right? I think this fight is maybe two to three fights too early. You look at the fights that David Morrell struggled in, and people's going, like I said before, people are going to say, what you mean by that? Well, the fights that he didn't get that first, second round knockout, those fights, what happens when those guys are not going down because of his strength or because of his power? What happens? You look at, I forget what fight it was. It may have been his last fight, a prior fight too. And I'm going to look at his box rate real quick just to make sure I'm on point. But I vividly remember he was in the ring, and it was a guy that I thought that he should have gotten out of there. But he didn't. Well, gotten out of there early. And he didn't. And there was another guy, and I can tell you the names. I'm pulling up his box rate now so I can be on point. I'll tell you exactly who he is, because he only has so many fights. He has 11 fights. You look at a guy like David Benavidez, who has 29 fights. He's been in championship rounds. The only fight he hasn't gotten is the Canelo fight. You look at all the fights that he's had. You look at his competition that he's had. He's had 20, out of 29 fights, has 24 knockouts. David Morrell, on the other hand, of course, he has 9 knockouts with 11 victories as well. But I remember when he fought, who was Calvin Henderson, right? When he fought Calvin Henderson, that was a fight right there. When I said, you know what, David Morrell is probably going to struggle a little bit. Calvin Henderson didn't go straight down. He didn't go down. It took him a couple rounds, right? It took him a couple rounds, and eventually he did, do some damage, but it wasn't as effective as the other guys that he's fought. It really wasn't. Now I look at David Morrell's record. I see the guys that he's fought. I mean, for us right now, he's putting together a complete resume. We're talking about a 20. His third pro fight. He fought a guy that was 22-0. Then he came back and fought someone who's 26-3. Then he fought a 12-0. Then he fought Alantez Fox with his Michael Fox brother. And he fought Calvin Henderson. And then he fought Adios Bosnulli, right? I don't know how to say his name, so forgive me. So he was 16-0. Then he fought Falco. I was at the Falco fight. I was definitely at that fight. Of course, that was on the Tank undercard. That was a fight that I betted on. But I'm looking at the guys that he didn't get out of there early. Those guys didn't go down, or they didn't waver because of the power, right? And what I mean by that is David Benavidez kind of struggled because to me, it looked like then he was relying on power just to get those guys out of there. So it wasn't like he was going through his progression and strategically thinking or putting his offense together to get those guys up out of there, or trying to put his offense together to make it look good. I'm not gonna say David Morrell looked bad, because he didn't look bad. It was just the simple fact that he struggled against guys that I know, and I felt that he was the better athlete, all the way around athletically gifted more than those guys, and he didn't proficiently get those guys out of there. So that what made me think to myself, like, man, y'all pushing this fight a little bit too early. I think you guys are pushing this fight just a little bit too early, and I could be dead wrong, because it's been a minute. It's been a long time since I've seen David Benavidez fight a southpaw. I've seen David Benavidez working on cutting off the ring. We know David Morrell. I keep saying David Benavidez. I keep calling David Benavidez David Morrell, and I call David Morrell David Benavidez. I guess the Davids that's throwing me off. But we've seen David Benavidez working with, different fighters. Of course, I've seen Roy Jones down there in Florida, because he's working out of Miami now. Seen Roy Jones down there, giving him a few pointers. We've seen Rigondeaux, right? Seen Rigondeaux helping him and teaching him about cutting off the ring. Who else we've seen? I've seen videos with it was somebody else. I can't think his name, but I've been looking. I just can't think his name. So I've seen the different help David Benavidez has put into this fight. I've seen the different looks from the sparring partners. Right, I've been looking at the different sparring partners he's bringing in as well. I haven't seen him fight a southpaw in quite some time. Not saying that it's an area of concern, but when you constantly fighting these guys who are orthodox, and then you switch to a guy like Morrell, like I said, he's good, right? And he does carry a lot of power, right? But you got to be very, very wary working with those southpaws, and especially if you haven't fought one in quite some time. Now, what I won't do is give the same take that I gave with the Errol Spence fight with Bud Crawford, because one thing about that fight, if you go back and do the research, Errol Spence haven't fought up until he fought Bud Crawford. It's been about 7 years since he's faced the southpaw. And I know most of you guys look at it, oh, he should know how to fight a southpaw. It's not just that easy just to switch from an orthodox to a southpaw, especially on that high caliber championship boxing. That's just not going to happen. You're going to have fits. Um, David Benavidez, he last fought. His last fight was in June of last year. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. Well, I want to say what is we going into? He's going to be fighting almost what 8 months later. 8 months later. Not saying that's a big difference, but when the last time that he fought a southpaw? That's the thing. Because I believe Ronald Ellis, I'm dating back to a couple years back. Ronald Ellis is an orthodox fighter. I believe Kyron Davis, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Kyron Davis is a orthodox fighter. Then of course he got David Luminetz out of there. That wasn't, that was an easy fight for him. Caleb Plant, that was definitely a good fight for him, who was an orthodox fighter as well, slick fighter. Demetrius Andre, he can switch back and forth, right? But he didn't get to exhibit a lot of that. He didn't get a chance to exhibit a lot of that. He can switch back and forth. And of course, he fought Alexander Gosset. And when he fought him, of course, that was an orthodox fighter. So it's been a little minute since he fought. And I'm looking even more down when he fought Jellion Love. He fought Anthony Morrell. Those guys are right-handed orthodox fighters. So it's making me think like, okay, well, it's been a little minute. Could David Morrell give him problems early? And I think that's probably the only chance that I give David Morrell in the fight. And I'm a big David Morrell fan, but it's unfortunate that he's fighting David Benavidez. And we all know what David Benavidez come to do. Whether you like it or not, it's not for me switching sides. It's not for me, or this is a Mexican fighter or this Cuban fighter. It's not, that's not none of that for me. It's that I genuinely like both of these fighters, but you had to pick a winner. You had to pick a winner. And I can't discredit David Morrell's resume, and I can't discredit David Benavidez's resume. But for someone who's only 11-0, and you're looking at David Morrell's record, it's astonishing. Definitely astonishing. You can't, no matter what you want to say, you can't knock him. I mean, look at the record, it speaks for itself. I think one of the questions that you can ask yourself, has David Morrell fought anybody like a David Benavidez? That's a question that you can ask. And you can also ask, has David Benavidez fought someone like a David Morrell? I do think that David Morrell's definitely not going to come down and lay down. That's for sure. Jimmy Bernard, what's up with you? Salute to you. Joseph Townsend in the building, was good with you. Hello, world. At 8 Sports Talk say, yeah, Morrell is good, but I think he's too early, but who knows? That's where I'm at with it, too. It's just a little deciding factors for me. That's what it is. A condo in the building, what's good with you? What's going on, bro? That's what it is for me. It's just a couple underlying deciding factors to me, right? And I can be wrong. I'm just giving my thoughts of what I think about the fight, but I'm definitely absurd about the fight week. I think this is the first card for PBC in a couple months. I know a lot of people who are big PBC fans and things of that nature are ready to see them, get back to doing their thing, and hopefully they continue putting on some cards, because I know they got the Gervonta Tank Davis card coming right behind this card as well. Then I believe Canelo coming right behind that, or maybe a card in between. I don't know, right? But hopefully they can get back to doing their thing. But I do think that overall, if I had to say how this fight plays out in my eyes, I would say maybe Dave Morrell, he comes and try to land something big early to make David Benavidez respect him, feel his power, and try to push him back a little bit. I believe that David Morrell, I'm not going to say he's the bigger fighter, because of course David Benavidez, if you don't know, he used to be a big boy. And he's still a big boy. He loses he loses some weight for these fights to make 60, 68. He loses some weight. A lot of people believe that he's a light heavyweight. A lot of people believe that he can even fight at heavyweight as well. David Benavidez is a big boy. If you haven't seen him in person, trust me, he's a big boy. I had the pleasure of meeting him back in, I think that was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And he was big then. This is off his big performance against the 8-punch combination when he fought Porky Medina. And that was maybe like 3-4 weeks after that fight. And I saw David Benavidez, and he was humongous then. I know I'm just a little guy, but he's a stout guy now for sure. So that's just me thinking. I think that David Morrell, possibly because David Benavidez haven't seen a southpaw in quite some time, can possibly try to push him back early, make him respect his power, let him know that he's here, make his presence feel known. But my question is, like I just said, one of the reasons why I think that this fight is too early. What happens with David Morrell if David Benavidez doesn't respect his power, doesn't respect what he's doing in the ring, doesn't respect the fact that he's getting pushed back, doesn't respect anything? Like we've seen different times throughout the course of David Morrell's short career. There's at least 3, 4, 5. He's only got 11 fights. There's at least 4 different fights where I've seen people not budge because he's the bigger fighter, the stronger fighter, he got more strength, or he got more pop, or he's the power hitter. I've seen people not respect that, and they go 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds. I've seen that. And that's why I always said that little bit right there is a lot of intel for David Benavidez, because what happens? One thing I do know is when David Morrell didn't get those guys out of there early, it almost kind of looked like he struggled. And what did David Morrell do? Did he keep the pressure on? No, he started boxing around those guys. He was like, okay, I see this guy's not gonna go nowhere. I'm gonna just start boxing. And he started getting caught with shots. So that's my concern about this fight. And that's why I believe that it may be a tad bit too early. But considering the fact that the record of the opponents that David Morrell beat, why I understand why not. So I understand that part. Why not? I mean, I've fought 11 people already with indicative records. Said Pool Counter Boxing was good with you. He said David looked human in his last fight. Which David? Which David, Pool Counter? Jimmy Bernard say, Tay, you think Morrell is a better fighter than Plant? I don't think that he's a better fighter than Plant. I think they have 2 different styles. That's, and that's very indicative to who they are and to what they do. It's 2 different styles of boxing. Of course, you got the Cuban boxing mixed with Cuban mixed American with David Morrell, and of course, you got Caleb Plant, who got the slick boxing. And I know Coach Breadman been grooming Caleb Plant to learn to fight on the inside, which is why you saw Caleb Plant walk McCombie down and fight him on the inside. Anthony Lathan said both Davids did. Well, I'm not gonna say both David did, because David Benavidez's performance is definitely not bad as what people may think, especially when you watch it for a second and third time like I have. He didn't get the guy out of there. Obviously, that was a different weight class, and that's why I try to tell people there's weight classes for a reason. He didn't get the guy out of there, but he put on a clinic. To me, it was a clinic. Did he get hit? Yeah, of course. Did the other fighter try to engage a lot with David Benavidez? I don't think he tried to engage a lot with him. I think that his body is built for that. I think what they fought at 78, if I'm not mistaken, or 75. But his body is built for that weight class, so he was able to absorb some of those punches. And keep in mind, David Benavidez has been losing, a lot of muscle as well to make it down to the weight class as well. So that could be something as well. You know what I mean? So that could be something, but I don't think that he looked human in his last fight. I actually thought it was a good fight, especially when you watch it, 3 or 4 times. That's just me. That's just what I think. You know what I'm saying? But you could be right, Anthony, for sure. He said David Morrell. Yeah, David Morrell. That's what I'm saying about David Morrell. What happens in those fights where you can't get those guys out of there? And that's when I said he reverts back to boxing. It's almost like he stopped trying to get those guys out of there because he can punch. That's something that we know. He can punch, right? But what happens when he doesn't? But see, that wasn't the first time that I saw that. You see what I'm saying? That wasn't the first time that I saw that. He said Agassiz was beating Benavidez. I remember that. And that's why I give David Benavidez a lot of credit for that fight. But that's, like I was saying, that's not the first time that I've seen Dave Morrell revert back to just strictly boxing. But if you let up off a guy like David Benavidez and try to box, that's when, they call him the Mexican Monster for a reason now. They call him a Mexican Monster for a reason. And I think that David Benavidez is one of those guys. He can't take a punch. Obviously, we seen him on a canvas before from a flash knockdown. I really don't go by flash knockdowns or knockdowns in general, simply because it's boxing. All it takes is 6 pounds of pressure. That's 6 pounds of pressure to me. Anybody in this chat, 6 pounds of pressure gonna put you down. That's for anybody. You know what I mean? Especially in the right place. It's boxing. It happens. So I don't really go by the whole knockdowns and things of the nature, unless you've been knocked down repetitively, or something like that. But I haven't seen David Benavidez. I only seen him down one time, and it was more like a flash knockdown. And when he got up, you know what happened. You were right about Boots, Tay. What I say about Boots? What I say about Boots? I don't remember. You got to refresh my memory. And he said, "Do I think that Plant?" No, yeah, that's what I was talking about that too. Yeah, Jimmy Bernard. You just got 2 different styles, but I think David Plant is a more skillful fighter than David Morrell, for sure. About his defense, yeah, man. Yeah. And like I said, and the only reason why I know that about his defense pull counter, because I've seen the spar. See, I don't want to go too off the subject, but I've seen the different sparring sessions that he's had with Brian Norman Jr. versus the only sparring session that him and his team talk about. See, I had privilege to see other things. Not only that, even when they was in talks and negotiations to fight each other, I was able to sit down with Norman Sr. and look and see what he was telling me about, Boots and how they can win and this. And I started seeing it for myself. And that's probably the only reason why I said something about it then. You think this fight goes the distance? I see a couple of knockdowns and go 12. Oh, man. And I don't know, man. I haven't even looked at the lines for this fight. I was trying to get to grand arrivals, because I know when grand arrivals come, Vegas like to play with those lines a little bit, And people, like, and it's no secret, everybody know I gamble on sports, but I like to dialect my boxing intel and take off what the Vegas lines is telling me. And if I disagree, I'll let you know. But I mean, it's I mean, back when I was going live, 2 years ago, almost every day, people would tell you I was giving out bets left and right and pretty much hitting everything. Hitting everything based off what the lines was telling me. And if I agree, but I haven't looked right now. I haven't even looked to see what the lines is. I'm just going by what I see with me watching film and breaking film down. I just don't see that David Morrell puts together a complete offense together. But I do think that David Morrell will start early. I do believe that he will start early in this fight simply because David Benavidez hasn't fought a southpaw in quite a bit of time. People would say, well, he got 8 weeks. 8 weeks don't, shit. Within those 8 weeks, guess what? You're losing weight. You're running. You're working on things that you see his flaws in his game. And not all the time will that fighter bring the same thing that you've seen in past fights. Right. And in prime example, you see David Benavidez working with Rigondeaux, cutting off the ring. You've seen him with Roy Jones throwing short shots and turning different shots over from an awkward position. So it may be something that David Benavidez is working on that we haven't seen yet. And it can be the same thing for David Morrell. One of my fighters, one of my guys, I brought him on here before, Mo Millions, who's a 147 pounder. He's actually down there at Ronnie Shields' camp getting ready for a fight here in Atlanta. He's working with Ronnie Shields now, and he was pretty much telling me that David Morrell is looking good. They've been working on different things. Of course, he's not going to tell me what they're working on, but I want to get closer to the fight, probably like a Wednesday or Thursday the next time I talk to him. He'll definitely give me some intel that I could probably bring back and give to you guys. Drink more water. What's up with you, brother? What's going on, man? Haven't seen you in a minute. Drew, yo, what's good with you? But I don't know if this fight goes the distance. I don't know. I haven't looked at the lines. I do know that David Morrell is tough, and I know David Benavidez is tough. But we do know one thing: being tough don't win you a fight. Being tough don't help you, prevent you from getting knocked out. It just don't. So I don't know. I can't really say, but I will say this. And my question still is going to be the same going into the fight. If David Morrell starts early, right? That's if he starts early. And he see that David Benavidez is not fazed by his punches. And he reverts back to boxing. What do you guys think will happen? Because I don't see David Morrell outboxing David Benavidez. Will David Morrell land some hard punches? Absolutely, because we know David Benavidez, I'm not gonna say get hit a lot, but he does get hit a ton. You know what I mean? But like I said before, just go back and look for yourself. The fights that David Morrell didn't feel like he can get those guys out of there early, like he did early in his career, even though it was a short career with 11 fights. Just go focus on the fights that he was pounding guys, trying to knock his best to knock them out, and they wasn't going anywhere. He reverted back to boxing, and then it started looking like his opponent was starting to come on. You could take a look at his last fight. Now, I'm not big on just the last fight because it could have been a bad day out of the office for him, right? But one thing for sure, two things for certain: you're only as good as your last fight. Paul Counter said David B will walk him down, and that's what I'm saying. STL drop checking in. He said if Morrell can't hurt David, David will walk him down and get the KO inside 11 rounds. And that's basically what I'm thinking to myself as well. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I hope I'm speaking logical, and I hope people seeing what I'm saying, is that go look for yourself. The guys that he couldn't get out of there early, and he was thumping on them, putting hands, feet, pots, pans, all the vegetables in. He putting everything to the punches, and wasn't getting those guys out of there. What did he do? He reverted back to boxing, and his opponent started coming on. I've at least seen that in four different fights for David Morrell. David Morrell power is suspect at 75. What makes you say that though, Pool Counter? Jimmy Bernard said, I think David B will put a lot of pressure on Morrell first couple rounds. Morrell will be on the back foot. Okay, all right. And see, that's different for me. So Jimmy Bernard, let me ask you this. What makes you say that though? Because my logic, and that's why I like the Intel tape, because my logic can be different from yours. Because my logic is that I haven't seen David Benavidez fight a southpaw in a minute. I'm not saying that he's not good at fighting southpaws. It's just that I haven't seen him fight a southpaw in a long time. And a lot of times when you haven't fought a southpaw in a long time, you know what I mean? You got to figure some things out. And the fight is totally different from sparring. No matter if he's been seeing southpaw fighters in his face for 8 weeks, he still got to figure it out. His punches don't have the same effect on them bigger guys. Okay. Drink more water say Benny been coming to step on him, and that's what's going to happen. I fuck Morrell, but he hasn't beaten anyone. Well, drink more water. I'm not gonna say he hasn't beaten anyone. It may be someone of. What you mean by anyone? Let me ask you that. Drink more water. What you mean by anyone? Because when I look at David Morrell record, right? When I look at David Morrell record, and I'm pulling it up right here on my phone, he's 11-0. That's first off and foremost. Don't have a ton of fights, right? But his record is respectable. His first fight, he fought someone's 2-6. It's a build-up fight. I get it. First fight, get a win up under your belt, get your confidence, right? But then your second pro fight, you fought a 15-6 guy. Third pro fight, you fought a 22-0 guy. Fourth pro fight, 26-3. Fifth pro fight, 12-0. Sixth pro fight, 28-2. Seventh pro fight, 15-1. Eighth pro fight, 16-0. Ninth pro fight, 24-1. 10th pro fight, 28-2. 11th pro fight, 29-2. I think that's very, very commendable. Anyone on this level, okay, yeah. I mean, you can get away with that. Morrell can outwork David over 12 if he sit down on his punches and make David respect him, and David shells up when attacked. And that's what I'm saying. STL drop, right? He can do that. I'm not gonna say that's in his game plan, but I believe that's something that he should do. For the simple fact that David hasn't faced a southpaw in quite some time, right? Go ahead and make him respect him, and that's what I said earlier. I believe David Morrell comes out and make David Benavidez respect him, try to put him on the back foot, gain ring generalship, but then at the same time, David can take punches. David Benavidez can take punches. Not saying that he's going to take a lot of them, but what happens if David Benavidez don't respect it? So Benavidez fought multiple world-class fighters and walked through them. I ain't gonna lie, like his first 6 rounds against Caleb Plant, they won all that. And I fuck with David Benavidez now. You know what I'm saying? But his first 6 rounds against Caleb Plant, shit, he was in the fight now. Let's not forget. But David Morrell he don't have the same skill set that Caleb Plant has though. Now, one thing I want to add to the STL drop. Now, I don't think that Morrell can outwork David over 12 because David Benavidez's work rate is significantly high, especially for that weight class. But it's interesting, and that's why I want to know what you guys think. You know what I mean? Because it's shit. This is a good fight to me. Every time a good fighter actually stands his ground with David shows up. He doesn't slip or slide. He just shows up. That's a good point. That's actually a good point. Because he did the same thing with Caleb Plant as well. He said no doubt, but he put the beats on the second half of the fight. He won't have to go. He won't have to go find Morrell. One thing that I do see that Morrell doesn't hardly do, and it could reflect back to what Drink More Water saying about world-class fighters, even though he does have a commendable record, is that I don't really see David Morrell get his head off the line a lot. And he can be in line for that straight right hand down the middle from David Benavidez. And he throws a significant amount of straight right hands. Absolutely, Poole County. So David B ain't a big puncher either. He just throws a lot of combination, beats you up. And that's the thing. That's why I was saying, like, he throws a lot of he throws a significant high amount of punches for that weight class. So I don't think he can outwork Morrell. That's one of my reasons why I said that. Appreciate that, Poole County. That's one of the reasons why I said that. I think Morrell is a much better boxer. Ooh. Okay. What makes you say that, STL drop? I'm just curious because I'm just curious because I've seen David Morrell. I'm not gonna say he fights the same way all the time. Especially if you've been watching him as long as I have, I've seen him, pull stuff out that I haven't seen him do before, which makes him versatile in certain fights. In certain fights, not every fight, but in just certain fights. So I'm interested to see why you say that. He said David can crack when he turns up. Which David are you talking about? He wanted to just punch himself out. Everybody knows Plant is a front runner. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I like how Caleb Plant came in that fight with McCombie, took the fight to him, and I think that shocked a lot of people because we've never seen Caleb Plant really engage and manhandle his opponents the way he did in his last fight. So you got to give his trainer Breadman a lot of credit for that as well. Which David you talking about can crack when he turns up? Which David you talking about? Drink more water. We've seen Benny and with boxers like Plant, Darrell, Ronald Ellis, Boo Boo. He won't have any problems with Morrell boxing. I think for the first couple rounds, it may be difficult. And like I said before, and I could be wrong, Drink more water. The only reason why I'm saying that is because haven't really seen David Benavidez in there. Haven't seen David Benavidez in fighting southpaw in quite some time. So that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that. Drew Titan in Super Chat, what's up with you, brother? So I still can't call it yet. Like I said before, man, my only concern, and I'll say it again, my only concern with the fight is what happens if David Morrell feels some type of uncertainty like he has shown in prior fights when he can't get the guy up out of there, because he's used to that, those big cracking punches in the beginning of the fights that normally puts those guys down. But what happens if you feel that uncertainty and not putting David Benavidez down early? Can he keep up that power during the duration of the fight? Catch David Benavidez with something nasty on down the line? That's a question to ask, because we've seen him revert back to boxing. Appreciate that, Drew. You know you have to, bro. It's the Cuban boxing school thing. The Cuban fighters can box, but in the pros, they go as far as their power can take them. And I meant David Benavidez can crack when he turns up. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He said Andre the Southpaw. But Andre switches, though. Andre switches. I know he went back and forth in that fight, if I'm not mistaken, right? But he was already, I'm not gonna say damaged good. I'm not gonna say damaged good, but he was already under duress, but after the first, second round anyway. I just think that Morrell got to make him respect him early. I think Morrell got to make him respect him early. D-Man Jr. in the building. What's up with you, brother? What's going on? I know it's been a minute. The family. Tay, hello, world. What's good with you, bro? He's going to have no choice but to try to box. He tries to go blow for blow with Benny. The fight might be over early. Okay. I can see Morrell giving work to David B in the early rounds, but David B will build that pressure on him in the later rounds, throw high value punches. That's ultimately what I'm thinking myself. And I'm just hoping that David Morrell doesn't go out there and try to throw everything upon the kitchen sink so early and so quickly. Again, because I've seen it in, he's only got 11 fights, but I've at least seen it in 4 different fights. That's the only thing I'm saying. I mean, will David Morrell surprise him with an overhand left that he don't see and put him down? I ain't gonna say knock him out, but put him down. We have seen David Morrell, or not David Morrell, but we have seen David Benavidez down, but it was more like a flash knockdown. It happens. It's boxing. Can David Benavidez be defensively responsive? So those are just questions that I got questions. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's a big dude, though. He's a big dude for sure. The one thing I would say still drop is I don't really use the term weight bully, because I feel like if you can make their weight comfortably, right now, there's some guys who do look like skeletons and stuff like that. But as long as they rehydrate and look good, then they can make the weight. You know what I mean? Some people, when they lose weight, they look like a skeleton. You know what I mean? That's just the natural look, and they can be feeling very wonderful. but they could just, it's this thing on the last week of on fight week. It's called the dry period. So during the dry period, it may just be that all the water that they have intake or intaken since camp, they're peeing it out, not putting any water, replenishing water in their body. So, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of fighters look like that, because they're not replenishing the water. They're leaking everything out by peeing, spitting. Some fighters spit in cups. Some fighters, just not to put a lot of water back in their body. They put ice cubes in their mouth to not gain a lot of weight back. So it's just different things, and sometimes that water deep deprivation definitely kicks in. David Morrell is better technician, but sometimes master one style 1,000 times is consistent and can beat versatility. Okay. Honestly, yeah. I'm with that, Paul Counter. I'm with that. These are good questions. Yeah, I like to say, D man, I just got questions. I just feel that this fight may be, 2 or 3 fights too early, possibly a year too early. That's just me. That's just me. I just got questions. Now, it would be impressive for David Morrell to pull this off. It would, yeah, for sure. It'd be impressive. It would be impressive. This is a fight of the year, but David B has defense issues, bad habits with footwork. And that's what I was saying. See, he was just working on footwork with Rigondeaux. So maybe he's implementing, he's understanding that, a lot of these guys that can punch, that can move like a David Morrell, I got to be better equipped. And that's one of the reasons why he's seeing guys like Roy Jones. He's seeing guys like David Rigo Rigondeaux. I've been saying that for years. This fight is too early. Yeah, I've been saying it for the last 2 years. I remember when he was only like 5-0. That was like, put him in there with David Benavidez. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? But I get it. Fans just want to see a fight. You know what I mean? Like I said before, I'm not saying wait this fight out like a Mayweather Pacquiao. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying give it a year, man. This is it's just me. That's what I'm thinking. Just I don't know, man. But I guess as I talk about it, I'm getting more and more excited. Game Bred Pitbull Hall of Fame say David Benavidez has no defense and is a robot. So like Morrell, I like Morrell. And when he beats David Benavidez, I want my props. You talking to me? You talking to me? Because I ain't seen you in here at all, bro, for you to say that. Pool counter boxers say David Morrell elevated so fast that he captured the boxing fans' imagination, like Boots did. Nah, bro, you ain't talking to me like that, my boy. Because I don't even know where you came from to say that. David Morrell elevated so fast he captured the boxing fans' imagination like Boots did. Yeah, he did come in, but here's the thing though. Although Boots again, it's well, I won't say that pull counter. I won't say that. I'm gonna tell you why I won't say that, because what's his name? Boots generated a mass amount of fights. He had already generated a mass amount of fights. I actually been watching Boots since I want to say Boots is like 18-0 or something like that. You know what I mean? So when I see stuff like that, you know what I mean? Say Mule, you've had some 6 years, Tay, from LWC Edway gloves, now being humbled by Tyson Fury and the downfall of Wilder, Spence, and Devin. Now you're talking with real boxing 6, glad to see it. Yeah, I'm glad to see you about to get up out of here too, man, for sure. Appreciate you though. Y'all know how I rock, man. I don't know what the hell he talking about. But again, Mule, when that documentary come out, you're gonna be all right. I hope you wipe the tears from your eyes when you see that documentary. Thank me later. Mwah. uh, Boots already had generated a lot of amount of fights. So I won't say that, but David Morrell, I won't say that about David Morrell either because his resume. I mean, look at the guys he beat with the record and the. I'm not gonna say he didn't have a lot of experience. I'm not gonna say that, but the experience as a pro, little to none, beating guys 29-0 and 29-2 and everything. That's commendable. You know what I mean? That's commendable for sure. Either way, say this is going to be a balls fight. Will Morrell have the balls to take pressure and relentless punches and bunches coming from David Benavidez? Morrell has all the skills like most Cuban fighters that we see. Well, the thing about that, man. The thing about that is for me is that what's his name? Evil Ways. The thing about that for me is that every time I seen Morrell try to go for a knockout early, or put those thudding punches on those fighters, his opponents early, he reverts back to boxing. And whenever he reverts back to boxing, that's when you start to see his opponent gain momentum. So whenever I see his opponent gaining momentum, for me it's like, can he box? I don't know. It's weird. I've just, like I said, I've only seen that in 4 fights. So that's just like that's just like what's the word for me? That's something for me to see. That's something I got speculation about. He say, damn, that shit moving fast. Roy Jones is a good friend of mine here in Picola. Y'all just got some snow last week. We just had a debate on the fight. He likes DB, but Senior likes Morrell. Yeah, man. It don't get me wrong. It's definitely an interesting fight. It's just that I got questions. That's all. If Benavidez takes Morrell into deep waters, he might get stopped. Morrell needs to have some pop on them punches for Benavidez to respect him. And that's one of the reasons, Kondo, that's one of the reasons why I was saying Morrell need to start early. Make his presence known. Make him feel him. Boots ducked the fade with Ortiz. What's up with that? Hey, man. Hey, I don't know, man. I don't know. That ain't the only person Boots ducked the fade from either. But, I ain't even going to go there. So I need you to put a puppy down a bit. Boots ain't duck Ortiz. He got what he said he wanted, a unification fight with another champion at 147. But drink more water. Here's the thing, though. What people don't know is this. The same amount that Stanionis getting paid now is what he was offered damn near 4 months ago. I don't know if David B's power will carry over to 175. Maybe when he gets older, but not now. I mean, but he a big dude though. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely a big dude. I don't know. I don't know. That's I guess that's something we're gonna find out this fight, huh? Because David Morrell, again, he was definitely a chubby boy. He lost that weight to make, because he wanted to fight at a lower weight class because he was shorter than everybody. But when he hit his growth spurt, and everything came together. So I don't know, man. He said it snowed here. It was weird. Yeah, I'm already knowing. DOG 215 was good with you, bro. Yeah, some people you just gotta put people out of there, man. That's all. You just gotta put people out. I could really put an end to it right now. But I just try to give people a chance, you know what I mean? But uh so that's why he kicked me out. He didn't want me to find it. The hell you talking about? Oh yeah, man. Shit, I appreciate that evil ways for sure, man, for sure. Who you liking in the Gary Antoine and Rayo? Woo, man, man. I can't. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I love Rayo. Rayo is the one of the. He's definitely shit. What's the word I want to say? He's one of those. He's not gonna quit. You know, despite what happened to him in the what's my guy name? Despite what happened to him in the shit the damn what's buddy name? De Los Santos fight. Despite what happened to him in the De Los Santos fight, but even in that fight, he showed a lot of grit. You know what I mean? He showed a lot of grit in that fight. You know what I mean? So I wasn't down on him. I wasn't down on him because, like, for me, if you ever been over here with me, you already know. Like, I don't look at knockdowns and stuff like that, but it depends on what happens when you do get knocked down. Do you get back up? Do you show you got that heart? You show you gonna bite down. You show you got that grit. You know what I mean? I like that. You know what I mean? Even when he lost to Chris Colbert the first time, I felt that he won that fight. I thought it was cheated. You know, I thought that he won that fight. I believe that he won that fight. He came back and you saw what happened in the second fight, right? And even for him to go up in the weight class and win the belt. Now, I thought he was going to beat Pitbull anyway, right? I never thought that Pitbull, me personally, I never thought that Pitbull was that good. That's just, I've always thought that. I know people say, "Oh, that was a close fight with him and Tank." No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was not. It was. It definitely was not. But Rayo, man, he definitely has elevated his game. Gary Antoine, I'm a big fan of Gary Antoine. Big fan of Gary Antoine. I just believe that possibly the thoughts of what's been going on outside the ring with him, losing his brother, losing his father, them trying to get back into boxing, and you got to remember Gary Antoine at one point in his career, he was fighting very regularly. Now, I mean, shit, look, here come the one time a year type shit. You know what I mean? That's what a lot of PBC fighters, just not him. The one time a year type shit with him now. So, oh man, I'm rolling. I got to stick with my guy, but I like Rayo, but I got to stick with my guy Gary Antoine. Man, but he didn't look good his last fight at all. I'm not gonna say at all, but he started early, and it's just, did he get away from the game plan? Was something going on mentally? What was it? You know what I mean? Like, not trying to come down on him too hard, but it was like, bro, you was winning the fight easy against Puello. It wasn't like Puello was doing anything special. It was minor adjustments, but I believe that with the Olympic pedigree background that he got, That should have been one of those fights where he captured what he needed to capture and kept moving. But here we are. So who y'all got between King Ryan and Rolly? I got Rolly. I got Rolly. Yeah, he looked real amorous against Puelo. He did. He did. And it's like I know Big Gary, well, Junior. I know Junior always been in his corner. With the father, Big Gary, right? I know that. Even the older I think he's the oldest brother or the middle brother. He trains them too as well. I'm not sure if it was just that he wasn't in the sense of what's the word I want to say? Hearing that fatherly voice, or what? It was something wasn't right. I'll just say something within him. Something wasn't right within him. Pitbull lucky that he was born Mexican. We Mexicans will support anything with a glove, but he's a plain average boxer. He's done. The hype is over. Expect more losses. Man, no, don't get me wrong. I just thought like Pitbull, man. He came in the game. I'm not gonna say came in the game, but he hit peak at the right time. If you know what I mean. He fought in a fight where he was fighting Gervonta. But you look at the skill set Gervonta had in that fight. I know people was looking for the knockout, but the skill set was the part that really impressed me. And you got to watch it a couple of times to understand what I'm saying. Pitbull, if you look at his earlier fights before he fought Tank, he had that one loss, but he was on a knockout streak. And I mean, it was a nasty knockout streak, knocking guys out first, second round. And he was fighting some legit fighters. And I didn't see that same aggression when he was in there with Tank. And then even after he fought Tank, I seen the aggression in there with, the other Cuban fighter who was a champion. I forget his name. He beat him. He beat a couple other guys as well. I actually thought Pitbull lost against I can't think his name. I'm gonna have to pull his box rec up. But it was the fight before he fought Rayo. The kid, I think he was southpaw, tall, slender kid. I can't think his name. I thought Pitbull lost that fight too, but they gave it to him, right? But I never really been a big Pitbull fan, and I didn't see what people were seeing. Only thing I've seen him was coming forward, but when it came against Tank, he came forward, but he wasn't really letting his hands go like that. But if you go look at those other fights, shit, he was putting hands and feet on everybody. Hassan said, "That's if Ryan has his PEDs." Nah, he ain't gonna be able to. Never mind, I'm gonna keep quiet on about that, but he ain't gonna be able to. Say Ryan by easy KO. The only reason why I give Rolly some type of validity right there is simply because I give Ryan a little bit of validity right there simply because not Ryan, but Rolly's. If you go back and look at their history, their sparring wars that they had, you can very much tell that one thing I always thought about Ryan, he doesn't like to be pushed around. The part of fighting that's physical for him, like engaging and being physical, he don't like that. And that's every bit of what Rolly is. Even when Rolly fought Tank and he was trying to be aggressive and and pressure him and try to bully him a little bit, Tank didn't like that either. And Rolly's can punch. Stephen Elder Mack in the building. What's good with you? Yo. So just the physicality part of it, I think that part right there, if he can somehow use that in his game plan, being very physical with Ryan, it'll take him a long way. And if you go back and look at the footage between those guys sparring over the years, uh, he ain't like that physicality shit. And Ryan and Rolly was thumping him with some shit too. So you know what I mean? And I know people gonna say, well, that's just sparring. Cool. Well, your boy ain't gonna be able to take his PDs. And don't forget about that part. And Rolly said Rolly was putting the beats on Ryan. I'm telling you. Say Pitbull say, I mean not Pitbull, but Game Bread say Pitbull got famous for losing just like yeah. But look though, but here's the thing though. I mean, who's not a star after they fought Tank? Recently, for the younger fighters, Frank Martin, shit, Frank Martin be having a crowd around him. Rolly's had a crowd, be having large crowds around him. Pitbull, obviously, as well. Of course, Ryan as well. I mean, he's a social media guy. So, I mean, when you fight Tank, you hit another. You know, whether you win or lose, it seems like to me, you get another level of stardom. Chief Wildfire say rolling with the judo background. Yeah, man. Rolly is very strong. He can crack. Want to see if Ryan can handle that. But Ryan got that hook. It's bad news for Rollies. But the press conference. Oh, man. Listen, whenever they have the press conference, that's probably going to be one of my main focal points. Because Rollies, listen, I'm not gonna say Rolly's special ed, but he's damn near close to it. He's damn near close to it. You know what I mean? And he's gonna talk his talk. And of course, Ryan gonna say something crazy to him or whatever, and Rolly's gonna get the trolling and stuff like he does. So that's gonna be funny. That's gonna be interesting as well. I'm definitely gonna be tuning in for the press conference on that. Oh man, that's gonna be funny. I always had this in mind though, and it's just me thinking, right? If Rollies needed a comeback fight, if Rollies really needed a comeback fight, who would be the perfect person to be a comeback fight? Let's just say Rollies, was out of boxing for a year or two, right? And he needed to come back. What fight would put Rollies on the map? I want to see if somebody can guess what I'm thinking. What fight will put Rollies on the map if he just, let's say he left out of boxing for a year or two, coming off a bad loss. Coming off a bad loss. He needed that fight to get back, put his name back in the mix. What would be a good fight for Rollies? Not just inside the ring, but outside the ring. Like at 140, 147. I mean, what fight would be good for Rollies? I want to see what people thinking, how I'm thinking. Greg Carmichael say, you think PBC will be more active this year? I don't know. I hope so, man. Drink more water. Got it. That's what I was thinking, bro. Yeah, Anwar Willis. Between them two, it was really Adrian Broner, though. It was Adrian Broner for sure. Man, if I had both of them, man, just the build up to that fight was just them talking. Man, that'd be funny as hell, man. Say Rollies versus Barrios. I think Barrios probably got a couple more fights until he's not champion. But Rolly versus Broner, man, listen here. That would definitely be a show. Now I'm not talking about fighting, of course, but I'm talking about just the entertainment part of it. That'd be retarded. That'd be retarded, man. Both of them, man, that'd be retarded. Rolly said the things the only things Ryan can't beat is Tank himself and depression. Rolly be talking that talk, man. Rolly be talking that talk. Do I think PBC would be more active this year? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I hope so. I mean, for us right now, I think what they got 3 cards for sure. I just didn't like the way they ended off last year. They canceled that 1 card they were supposed to have last. You know what I mean? And then they started. You pretty much say 3 months in. Of course, it was March 1st. I think that was their first card last year. Well, they had about 3 or 4 cards last year. And then some of the guys who was on PBC, they end up fighting on like local cards. And even when they fought on local cards, you couldn't record it and put it on YouTube, so nobody got to see it. So it's just little things like I want to see those guys actually excel. You know what I mean? I think it's time. You're in the second year with Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. Game Bread said, he said, do you think it's too early for Kid Austin to face Shakur? And what about Cruz versus Keyshawn in the pros? Man, I think, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not a big Kid Schofield fan. I ain't gonna shame him or disrespect him or anything of that nature, but he averaged to me. I never seen what the hype about. I never saw what the hype is about. And I think people gotta understand, like I remember when Floyd Schofield had some of his amateur fights here in Atlanta. Um, I remember where he turned down fights to fight Haven Brady. You know what I mean? And Haven Brady was one of them guys. So for me, I think this should be Shakur's easiest fight, honestly and candidly. But I don't blame Kid Austin for wanting to step up. I mean, I think more guys should step up. But sometimes you got to know when it's time and when it's not time. And I think right now it's not time. And I'm quite well. I'm not gonna say I'm quite sure, but I mean Bernard Hopkins even I ain't gonna say elaborated, but he alluded to it being a little early for him. So I don't know, man, but I think this should be his easiest fight. That's for sure. Rolly would be a good tune-up for Spence. Man, I don't. Uh, I don't know. That won't happen, man. Spence a different breed. You know, people don't give him credit for it, but he a different breed. He don't want no easy fights. And I can respect that. And I think that's way too easy for Spence. Yeah, Osterine, Spence, look how Bug is on snap. Just take the loss and move on to another fight. Yeah, I don't know what you talking about, but good luck, brother. I don't know what the hell you talking about, bro. Barrios Ramos was a banger. Yeah, yeah, it was okay. It was for me. It was okay. Barrios, I think he switched his trainer to I forget the dude's name, but he had the black guy in the corner when he fought Tank, and I like that trainer. He had some his skill set with fighters is like an old school style, and I seen Barrios doing some of that stuff even when he was in the ring with Tank and previously leading up to that fight. So I'm not sure why he got rid of that trainer. Because I think he got Bob Santos now. I think that's his name. I may be mistaken. Is AB still looking to box? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. PBC needs a new platform. I think they good where they at. I think they can do more. I think they're good where they at. They just gotta do more. Thurman, but I think oh yeah, I don't want to say, but I know Al has some things going on. I don't want to put it out there, but I know he has some things going on. Thurman fighting Brock Jarvis. He's back from his 4-year layoff. Damn, he fought Barrios 4 years ago. Hell no, that was 4 years ago. I think they had 5. They might have did. They might have did. I know I went out to what fight card I went to. I went to. Damn, I just lost my train of thought. I can't think of who fight. Was it last year? No, no, it couldn't be was it last year? Who fight card that was? Man, I can't even remember. I damn sure can't remember. I don't think was that last year? I don't know, man. Said Bronin's watch, yeah. 3 years. Yeah, it's been that was 20. I thought about the side, damn, no, it ain't been no 4 years. Yeah, Bob Santos. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Bob Santos. So I mean, Bob Santos did. Don't get me wrong. He had a little run. And he had a little run with a couple fighters, but Barrios was doing his thing when he had other coach. So I'm not sure what I don't know, but yeah, I don't see Barrios being champion much longer at 47 anyway. Especially if I know what fight should be next for him. I don't think he's gonna be champion much longer. But yeah, man, that's it, man. That's what I got, man. On a David Morrell and David Benavidez. That's what I got, man. And again, I just have some concern questions with that fight, but I love the fight. I still think that it's a year or 3 fights too early. I just want to know what happens with, Boots and Stanionis is next. I just want to know what happens if Dave Morrell can't hurt David Benavidez, or David Benavidez doesn't respect David Morrell power. Will David Morrell revert back to boxing? And a lot of times when I've seen, over his short boxing career, out of 4 fights, I've seen him revert back to boxing after not getting his opponent out of there, and it looked like it took a turn for the worse. I know what my guy at. I know my guy STL. What was it? STL Drop was saying that he can box, but my only thing to that was, I'm not saying he can't box, because obviously he can, but it looked like every time he couldn't get his opponent out of there and he reverted back to boxing, that's when you seen his opponent started coming forward and landing punches and things of the nature. So will Morrell have a different objective other than relying on the power? Will he actually box and move his feet? We know he come from the boxing school. He got the Cuban background. Will David Morrell apply the pressure? You know what I mean? Will he apply the pressure? So it's just, for me, like I said before, I'm not knocking the fight at all. I like the fight. I still, however, think that it's a year too early, possibly 3 fights too early, right? But I like both fighters. I've had a chance to chop it up with David Benavidez before. I even doing Earl Spence and Bud Fight Week, I chopped it up with David Morrell. And David Morrell, I'm gonna tell you this. Even when I interviewed David Morrell, I'm trying to get it on the screen, but you guys can probably hear it on my phone. David Morrell has always been saying, "Fuck David Benavidez." He's always been saying that. So he's always had the same energy, for sure. And just to prove it, I'm gonna pull it. Where is it at? I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I'm gonna play it anyway.
All right, Chuck. All right, man. Take it easy. Good to see you. Hey, fuck Benavidez.
So you hear him say "fuck Benavidez," and that was down there 2 years ago. So he's always had that same energy. So it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. But he's been saying he want that fight for 2 years now. So we'll see. But with that being said, man, I'm out. I appreciate everybody stopping through for sure. I appreciate everybody stopping through. And that's what's up, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. With that being said, I'm out. Love, peace, happiness. And hello, world.
Before the paper, I knew they would say, and I knew by the looks on their faces. Niggas mad cause I did what they wouldn't do, say what I couldn't do. Look, bitch, I made it. Morrell, I made it. Came a long way from the basement. Fighting on me, I ain't playing, y'all. These niggas ain't playing fair. If I would've known better, I'd do better. Took some mess and I learned from a new level. Bought some new shovels and some new stressors. And I'm ready for war like whoever. They counted me out, I can't count it all. Cause little nigga, I ball. I put them points on the board every time that I shoot, I'ma score, and you know I'm a dog. I'm really appalled, don't need no applause. I know I'm a legend, my name on the wall. First record with platinum, my second with gold. Did it independent, no deal at all. And they said it's impossible. Got them high cause I did them without them though. I'm the same nigga slept on the carpet floor. Even back then I knew that I'd be poppin', so I really ain't trippin'. I swear I ain't trippin'. I got in my feelings and got me a million. Couple people I thought would be with me, but they not, so it's fuck all them niggas.
And then you next.